So we're deep. We're into it. That's the preface, and I basically come with that whole thing. I'm not trying to change nothing. I'm gonna give you the book straight as these two authors compiled together, and I'm gonna add some of just my own personal things that have happened in my life. Maybe I'll add a few things where I had implemented the secret into my life to obtain things that I had wanted in my life. Yeah, I'll give you guys a couple little peeks on the inside of my life. But besides that, we'll start with chapter 1 and the power of thought. The man who thought his way into partnership with Thomas A. Edison. Truly, thoughts are things, and powerful things at that, when mixed with purpose, persistence, and a burning desire for their translation into riches or other material objects. Now that's powerful right there. Like that alone right there says that you can, anything you think of, you can have if you really want it. Edwin C. Barnes discovered how true it is that men really do think and grow rich. His discovery did not come about at one sitting. It came little by little, beginning with a burning desire to become a business associate of the great Thomas Edison. One of the chief characteristics of Barnes's desire was that it was definite. He wanted to work with Edison, not for him. Observe carefully the description of how he went about translating his desire into reality, and you will have better understanding of the 13 principles which led to riches. With this desire or impulse of thought first flashed into his mind, he was in no position to act upon it. Two difficulties stood in his way. He did not know Mr. Edison, and he did not have enough money to pay his rail fare to Orange, New Jersey. These difficulties were significant to have discouraged the majority of people from making any attempt to carry out their desire. But his was no ordinary desire. He was determined to find a way to carry out his desire, that he finally decided to travel by blind baggage rather than be defeated. To be uninitiated, this means that he went to East Orange on the freight train. So this man, he hopped on the freight train. He's like, I ain't got nothing left. I'm gonna hop on the freight train and I'm gonna go knock on Thomas Edison's door and I'm gonna go work for this man. I don't know him. I've never met him. I'm gonna work for this man. He presented himself outside at Mr. Edison's laboratory and announced he had come to go into business with the inventor. In speaking of the first meeting between them years later, Mr. Edison said, he stood there before me, looking like an ordinary tramp, but there was something in the expression on his face which conveyed the impression that he was determined to get what he had come after. I had learned from years of experience with men that when a man really desires a thing so deeply that he is willing to stake his entire future on a single turn of this wheel in order to get it, he is sure to win. I gave him the opportunity he asked for because I saw he had made up his mind to stand by until he succeeded. Subsequently, events proved that no mistake was made. Just what young Barnes said to Mr. Edison on that occasion was far less important than what he thought. Edison himself said so. It could not have been the young man's appearance that got him his start in the Edison office, for that was definitely against him. It was what he thought that counted. If the significance of this statement could be conveyed to every person who reads it, there would be no need for the remainder of the book. Barnes did not get his partnership with Edison on his first interview. He did get a chance to work in the Edison offices at the very nominal wage, doing work with that was unimportant to Edison, but most important to Barnes. It gave him an opportunity to display his merchandise where he intended partner could see it. Months went by. Apparently, nothing happened to bring the coveted goal, which Barnes had set up in his mind as a definite major purpose. But something important was beginning in Barnes's mind. He was constantly intensifying his desire to become the business associate of Edison's. Psychologists have correctly said when one is truly ready for a thing, it puts in its appearance. Barnes was ready for a business association with Edison. Moreover, he was determined to remain ready until he got that which he was seeking. He did not say to himself, "Oh well, what's the use? I guess I'll change my mind and try for a sales job." But he did say, "I came here to go into business with Mr. Edison, and I'll accomplish this. And if it takes the remainder of my life." He meant it. What a different story people would have to tell if only they would adopt a definite purpose and stand by that purpose until it had time to become an all-consuming obsession. Maybe young Barnes did not know it at the time, but his bulldog determination, his persistence with the single desire, was destined to mow down all opposition and bring him the opportunity he was seeking. When the opportunity came, it appeared in a different form and from a different direction that Barnes had expected. That's one of the tricks of opportunity, has a sly habit of slipping in by the back door, and often comes disguised in a form of misfortune or temporary defeat. Perhaps this is why so many fail to recognize opportunity. Mr. Edison had just perfected a new office device known that time as the Edison dictating machine, later called the Ediphone. His salesmen were not enthusiastic over the machine. They did not believe it could be sold without great effort. Barnes saw his opportunity. It had crawled in quietly, hidden in a queer-looking machine that interested no one but Barnes and the inventor. Barnes knew he could sell the Edison dictating machine. He suggested this to Edison and promptly got his chance. He did sell the machine. In fact, he sold it so successfully that the Edison gave him a contract to distribute and market it all over the nation. Out of that business association grew the slogan, "Made by Edison and installed by Barnes." This business alliance made Barnes rich in money, but he accomplished something infinitely greater. He proved that one really may think and grow rich. How much actual cash that original desire of Barnes's was worth to him, I have no way of knowing. Perhaps it brought him $2 or $3 million. Whatever the amount, it becomes insignificant when compared with that greater asset he acquired, the definite knowledge that an intangible impulse of thought can be transmuted into physical counterparts by the application of known principles. Barnes literally thought himself into a partnership with the great Edison. He thought himself into a fortune. He had nothing to start with except the capacity to know what he wanted and the determination to stand by the desire until he realized it. He had no money to begin with. He had but little education. He had no influence, but he did have initiative, faith, and the will to win. With these intangible forces, he made himself #1 man with the greatest inventor who ever lived. Now let us look at the different situations and study a man who has plenty of tangible evidence of riches, but lost it because he stopped 3 feet short of the goal he was seeking. Story of them 3 feet from gold, baby. Like those. Those are mine.